Hey folks, and welcome to G4G. I apologize for creating a video so soon after the last one. So in case you haven't seen it on the channel, I did a video of some games that you would like to play or like to get interested in, take a look at, until Beta 3 drops for Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux. And in that video, I covered some games that emulate the agent experience, some that have the extremely robust roster, some that are turn-based RPG, and some that have the depth of the buffs, debuffs, status effects, all of that we had for Marvel Avengers Alliance. So, barring that, we've got two topics to cover in today's video. It's rare that I do a two-topic video like this, but both of them are equally important and they're relatively short, so I thought I would just go ahead and combine them into the same video. So, the first one, and this is a little bit lesser suspense for this one than the second thing I'm going to deal with, is that we have news about Marvel's Avengers. We're going to go over two things here in regards to that. One is that, according to Game Informer, IGN Japan has spoke with the Crystal Dynamics studio head Scott Amos, and they found out what was going on with Spider-Man coming as a post-release DLC character only to the PlayStation consoles, PS4 and PS5. It turns out, in a bit of good news and a bit of bad news, that, other than Hawkeye, which is announced and is coming to all systems, Spider-Man is only coming to the PlayStation, and it is the only console exclusive character. Now, why is this a double-edged sword? It's good and bad. The good is, well, at least we're not going to reignite the console wars over here, where we have this console having this character, and then they're in a fight with the other console who has Spider-Man, and then they're in a fight with the other console who has this other person, like Xbox gets Doctor Strange, and Stadia gets Wolverine with the PC. Like, at least that's not going to happen. That's the good. But the bad is, to quote the 50s and 60s mentality in the United States, this is not going to be a separate but equal situation going on over here. It means that there is no replacement for Spider-Man on the Xbox, on the PC, on Stadia, etc. So that is extremely bad. It means that the $60, let's just say it's 60, the $60 that you plunk down for Marvel Avengers on the PlayStation is going to be a more in-depth $60 than getting it on the Xbox or the PC. And no, that's all the movies. I thought it was here. It's hard to find this in the store, but basically you can find the Xbox version in here. And oh, wait a minute, there we go. This might do it. Okay, so yeah, alright, $60. And then there is the deluxe edition, which is what I own. And I happened to get this actually on Xbox, and there's a reason why I did it. The reason why I did the Xbox version and not PC is because with the Xbox version, I can play it on my PC through the Xbox app, and I can also play it through the Xbox app on mobile devices. So this gave me more portability for it than, say, compared to the PlayStation version, where the PS4 remote app is a little jank, and the older PS4s don't get on the 2.4 gigahertz broadcast, they're only on the 5. So that's why I went that way. I have so many games on the PC, I wanted to liberate myself to a console, but also have extreme flexibility by it. And I didn't want to get it on the PlayStation, because at the time I knew I had Final Fantasy VII Remake associated to that, a whole host of other games I haven't touched. I wanted to be able to spread the love a little bit, and to have so close to the release date said this about Spider-Man instead of when these pre-orders had opened up is really shitty and really anti-consumerism. And to the people protesting it or boycotting it, I think you very much have a leg to stand on. I don't blame you. I'm not one of these people who considers them whiners. I think it is unfair that if you get Spider-Man, you get a bunch of uniforms for him, you get a bunch of gear, you get story missions and everything, you are perhaps getting $8 to $10 worth of extra content for free. You know, it's like getting the chocolate shake for free in your combo meal instead of just the burger and fries. I don't agree with it. I think it's shit. It is very clearly the relationship between Sony, the console, and Sony's rights for movies and everything. It's kind of a garbage situation, and I think Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix really need to get ahead of this and talk PR-wise, public relations-wise, about this. They maybe need to come out and say, due to the community sentiment, we realize that Spider-Man being exclusive to the PlayStation 4 is not what the community wants, and we do not want to hinder anybody's enjoyment of the game. Therefore, Spider-Man will be released for all consoles 6 months later, a year later. Sort of like Borderlands 3 going to the Epic Store and then coming to Steam a year later. Whether or not that pushes it out of relevancy could be bad, because if Avengers crashes and dies within that year, then you will have missed out on Spider-Man for literally nothing. We don't know that they'll do this. They haven't said anything about that yet. And here's the other thing. Apparently characters you are not bringing into combat don't level up. So that is brought up as been a sticky point with Hawkeye and eventually Spider-Man. You know, if we're getting this in September and then people are getting Spider-Man in January, February 2021, how far behind is he going to be? Will he drop at a level equal to your highest? Will he drop at a level that's average of your characters? We don't know, but it brings up a good question. So on to another article from Game Informer. They've had access to the beta and been playing it, and similar to IGN's review on it, they're saying it's good, but not great. IGN basically said they like the environments, they like the visuals, they like the sounds of it and everything, but that it boils down to being about item level. And World of Warcraft players know all too well what item level is like, where you wear a piece of gear simply because it's a 400 and not a 385, even if the stats are slightly worse. For example, if you're a character based off of haste and crit, and that's what you have on the 385, but then you get a 400 that's mastery and versatility, some stats are better, some stats are worse. Is it truly an upgrade? Well, that's apparently what they're saying about the Marvel Heroes loot system, is that you can get a piece of gear that never looks different on the character and doesn't really functionally change anything, but it can add some elemental damage. We've seen that in the war tables where they're like, look, here's Iron Man's beam. It's green because it's poison element now or something like that. Yeah, you're hoping for a little bit much in a looter collector. It's not a looter shooter, but a looter collector. So here for Game Informer, they're saying it ably manages the hours of play in the beta. The character models look good, especially in the slow-mo screens, and the costumes add some variation to their styles. The basics of character controls are good, and dodges, blocks, light attacks, heavy attacks, and it's pretty cool to hop into different personas. Unfortunately, there's a plotting sameness and tedium at the center of the action that reminded this reviewer of the comic-based games in the early 2000s, where it's just punch, punch, punch away, punch away, punch away, and it's not really that combo-based like, say, God of War or Spider-Man. And that's really sad that you have the excellent combat of Spider-Man, and then Avengers goes backwards from that. Who is going to include Spider-Man? And I hate that Hulk look, by the way. Lighter, faster characters feel floaty, but Hulk's sprint is really slow. Honestly, he should have big leaps. That should be his like traversals, big huge leaps. Um, the robust and interesting environments are definitely AAA. Many of the environments lack verticality and variation. Worse still, both hero characters and enemies fail to pop within gameplay sequences. Um, there is an attempt to weave a narrative around popular characters. He's interested in seeing the full scope of it. Apparently, I guess some of the lines get repetitive. Hearing Stark shout, "Who you gonna call, Hulkbuster?" the first time didn't really make me chuckle, but it definitely didn't on the 10th time I heard it, which is what people have accused David Letterman doing of shoehorning his jokes in. Like, it's not funny the first 2 times he says it, so he'll say it 10 more. The gear sets. Here they say the elementals are actually pretty good, defending against cold enemies with anti-cold gear. In other living games such as Division or Destiny, the focus is on distinct weapons and armor that change how you approach things. It doesn't change it here. I did see another review that said, Destiny, this is not. So, it's going to be scary. I don't know that I'll regret pre-ordering this. Public relations-wise, consumer-wise, I do regret pre-ordering it on the Xbox to some degree, simply because of my stance against Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix for doing this. I don't regret the system I chose because I'm getting a lot of versatility out of it, clearly, in what I described, but I, as a consumer, can stand up for the rights of other consumers along with me who are upset at Spider-Man coming to only one console, at least for now. Hopefully it's more of a timed exclusive than an exclusive period. But we really don't know. And we've already, some of us have had major issues with the visuals on the character. So to get goodwill in the community with fixing the characters and then dropping fan favorite Hawkeye, but then still have that background of the characters used to look kind of trashy, and now a console exclusive Spider-Man, this is a tough game to get super hyped about. I mean, we're in a Marvel drought with Black Widow being extended. Who knows what's happening with Venom 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think we're all anxious to consume some kind of another Marvel fix. We know the mutant world is now going to be up for grabs with it going into the MCU and everything. Will we see mutants in this game? I said on stream that I think Wolverine will be the first mutant ambassador. Somebody did bring up Deadpool, and that is a good possibility. That's a semi-neutralish ground to get Deadpool, but you neuter Deadpool a little bit depending upon the game's rating. But I think Wolverine would be early on for this. He's a good power level. A very melee-based character. I don't know what his traversals would be. Probably a sprint, but his vertical traversals, I don't know. Maybe a somersault spin like a screw attack from Metroid might be what he does with the claws out, and he jumps like a screw attack spin, and he does damage while he's in the air doing it. Or you could use it as a traversal. I don't know. It'd be nice to see. So, a little minor brief bridge announcement over here. Last night I discovered I got into the Shadowlands beta for World of Warcraft, so yay, super yay for that. I have started a Bear Druid on it. I'm now currently in Bastion. This is a linear leveling process. You are forced into Bastion as the first zone, and I'm liking it a lot so far. Bastion is a wonderfully ASMR environment. It's just very soothing visually. So I am going to be covering World of Warcraft Shadowlands Beta. The first video I'll probably do is the new customizations for characters, and then I'll start dipping into gameplay and dungeons and everything like that. So, a little bit of a bridge announcement there. Now for the major announcement that you guys have probably been holding on the entire video for, is I have some Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux news. I'm going to show you right now. There is no sound, by the way. This is just strictly visual. Yes, challenge is missing the E. Okay, so there we go. This is the latest video from Goofy that he has given to me. I debuted it on the stream today. It is also up on his channel. So a couple things we'll note. Let's do a deep dive over here. The agent has experience. So Agent Gigawatt is now level 3. You will notice in the version that you have and the version that I stream every day, my agent is level 1 because there is no experience. You will also note that the jets are leveled up. So you have some base, you have jets now, and they are at various stages of leveling, including the most potent form of jet out there. There's the X-Men Blackbird, and also the Christmas decorations are up on the helicarrier, but minus the snow. So we have the Christmas lights. You'll notice down here, as somebody on the stream pointed out, Agatha Harkness is missing. However, do not read into that. I know Goofy is on a laptop. He has a different resolution than I do. When I do my Redux videos and streaming, I can fit 4 people down there. He has 3. I wouldn't necessarily read into that. The font is pretty good and unified over here. Resume looks really good, mission, and the ones below it. If we go into combat, so there is one little bug that I noticed is on this screen. Well, first you have chapter rewards are now being mentioned, and mission rewards are also being mentioned. There is a slight bug a little after this shotgun reward is displayed that I noticed. Challenge, there it is missing the E. It's likely a spacing issue for the button. I'm not going to say Goofy has misspelled this as challenge. It's probably just a spacing issue there, and the E is cut off. And then we get into combat, which he hides on this, which is very good because it builds up some suspense. Do not take it as combat is not fixed yet or ready. Allow it to be suspense for you, because Goofy's had combat working before in earlier alphas, where you would get like bleeds and debuffs and everything like that. But he's fixing that code from the ground up because it was very inefficient at the time. And let's face it, we all knew when it was live with Playdom that you could have 3 or 4 different buffs that are technically the same thing. Like you may have strengthened, but you may have attack up. Some things are multiplicative, some things are additive. So fixing up the combat code and unifying it is a big thing. But you'll see here, he has his characters picked, and then he comes to the end screen where he is gaining team up bonuses, or tubs, as the content team will tell you. And also down here you will notice that he's considerably into level 3, and he's gaining experience, and Iron Man and Black Widow are topped out at 10 experience for level 1, and then he does it again where Black Widow has disappeared. Now I don't know if that means he didn't take anybody in or Black Widow died, thereby gaining 0 experience. I would think that if she was on the mission but died over here, likely then she'd be here and show 0 experience, but she still might have a golden plate. So I cannot decipher what's happening there with her missing. And I don't want to put ideas into Goofy's thing that I don't know about. So, and then again, multipliers, big bonuses, a speed bonus for time. The agent, as you can see, is now up to 600 out of 720, so he has properly gained experience as this video has gone on. And Black Widow and Iron Man are still topped up at level 1. So there you guys go. There is some Marvel's Avengers news. I will have access to it next week. I will likely be featuring it on the stream for the entire hour rather than Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux, simply because it is going to be more timely unless Redux has any updates. I will put videos out on YouTube about it. We're going to have Shadowlands videos, and it's going to be quite an exciting time. I actually didn't mean to close that tab. So things are definitely going to get very interesting over the next few weeks here. I do find out potentially on Friday of this week whether or not a place that I interviewed 3 times with hands me a job. I did happen to find out today that one particular place that was submitting me for a cloud engineer, which would be nice forward momentum in my career, they had no more openings for that one, so my resume wasn't going to make it in. But I have one that's high potential, and if that happens, unfortunately, that will change things with the streaming and everything. It doesn't mean the streaming will get removed. It may mean that I do it after work hours for a little bit, but YouTube content does not suffer when I'm working. I'm still able to do that regardless, and thanks to how things are with the itis, chances are I will not be in the office for quite some time, so being able to work remotely can maybe fit in a stream there or something like that. It depends. We'll see. So thanks guys for stopping by. Everybody be safe. Everybody avoid the itis as much as you can. Do whatever you can to not get sick. I've already known of one stream viewer who has dealt with the itis and has recovered, so good health to him and continued health to him. Even though he is well recovered, we certainly hope that person does not get a second bout of it. But everybody stay healthy, do exactly what you can to avoid this, whether it's stay home, whether it's mask up when you're out. I encourage you to do the best and take care of yourself. So, see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the video.